Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name's Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action, sadly, on my own tonight, as Lexi is busy this evening. But nonetheless, I'll still be able to give you all the great action here at Zandvoort for the next round of the season. Round 3 of the championship, and we're here in the Netherlands, the home of Max Verstappen, and what a night of racing we have ahead of us. We do have some weather lingering around for this week, not just only for the Ginetta GT4s, but also possibly for the pro category. But tonight is all about the pros. Sorry, the GT4s. I'm already one step ahead. 2 steps ahead to make that, actually. But we are getting ready for tonight's race, and as you can see, it is Tordok leading the way up the top of the tables. And regarding the championship standings, it looks like this. Hooper leads the way with 316 points ahead of his teammate Kieran O'Reilly in second, 3 points behind, with Matthew Duffin sat in that P3, 6 points behind him. Then Tordok, who's now gone from reserve to a full-time driver, is in P4, so we can now look to try and chase after that championship that he desperately wants in this category. Then we've got Self sat in P5 with McGowan in P6, Matt Wright in P7 with Snye in P8 with Hoffner P9 with Darren Yeo in P10. Will Friedman sat in 11th with Bolton in 12th. Zampolini 13th with Carlos in 14th with Calcef 15th. Leach in 16th with Cranes 17th. Varga in 18th position. 19th is Gude with Langley in 20th. While Bell is in 21st. Aberdeen 22nd and Tipping in 23rd with Ramsell in 24th with Millington 25th. Nebo in 26th in the championship with Oldham Racer 27th. Gary Carball 28th with Skunky sat in 29th and looking very competitive tonight. Marsden currently sat in 30th position with Johnston 31st. Cummings in 32nd with P. Williams 33rd. Then we got Stark in 34th. Archer 35th. Taylor 36th. Smith in 37th. Fernie in 38th. And Betson in 39th. And Cherrymore in that 40th position. And a few drivers still yet to get off the mark. Regarding the teams, it is Dapper Racing with a massive lead out in front, 218 points ahead of MSA Racing in second place, with SimPlay Racing currently in P3, Ballbusters Racing P4 with Quantum Motorsport P5, with CT Motorsport with Tordok all on his own in P6. P7 is Greasy Bandits Racing with Team GBR in 8th, Team RRM in 9th, while Team Full Send Jorders the Jorders in that P10 with OWR Racing in 11th. 12th is Piston Pounders, Roadrunners Motorsport in 13th with Team Audio Sport 14th, Soldor Racing in 15th with GD Racing 16th. 2Cs Racing in 17th. 18th is CGT Motorsport. 19th is Team Tom. 20th is Team FBR. Blunt Force Racing 21st. And still to get off the mark is OGR. That is a rundown of your championship standings. Let's hear from you guys in the chat. Currently 8 people watching the stream. Guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. But like I said, round 3 of the season. And a circuit that will bring some great racing tonight. Very tight, very twisty, and like I said, with rain lurking around as well, all sorts can happen at this circuit. The circuit itself, Zandvoort. Let's get a overhead shot of the circuit. Very tight, twisty circuit. It is in Zandvoort, north of Holland of the Netherlands. Capacity up to 105,000 people, and was opened back in the 7th of August 1948. It's been open for 76 years, and it has been the home for the Dutch Grand Prix. Other championships that do come in is the GT World Challenge Europe and also DTM as well. The current circuit, the layout that we all know from Formula 1 is 4.9 kilometers long. That's 2.6 miles long. But the current configuration that we are currently running at the minute is 4.3 and 2.6 miles long. Obviously, due to the fact there's less banking here, which makes the circuit longer. Lap record around here is a 1:21.0, and that was done in an F1 car itself, and I will try and find the records for the GT3. That is a 1:33.6 done in a McLaren 720S GT3 Evo, and that was done back in 2024 in the DTM Championship. And that's a quick rundown of this circuit. Like I said, the home of the Orange Army and the home of Max Verstappen. We are currently only 7 subscribers away from getting to that important 1,000 subscribers. So please, guys, do what you can and spread the stream around, as it does help us out massively here at SimPlay Motorsport. But let's find a driver and take us a lap around this beautiful circuit. I believe there is the 177 or the 977, and that is B. Kalsef. We'll go on board with him. And obviously, like I said, this is not the current form that everyone would know from Formula 1. It is the old version, so there's no banking. But as we come out of the final corner, Kalsef will set himself ready to go down the long main straight, the longest straight on the circuit, as you then head down towards turn number 1, braking just at the 75-meter range. You can see he goes a little bit deep, but you can get away with a slight banking in turn 1, which is able to bring the front end back in as he then works his way into 2, brake, drop down a gear, into 3, get the front grip up, and then into the tricky 4, down 1 more gear, try and get it into hook onto the inside of the circuit and get a good exit as you then swing into the fast flowing turn 5, turn 6 and turn 7. No real struggles here, just keeping a nice smooth line, making it as straight as possible. Then into 8, brake as late as you dare, get the front to turn in, try and get some grip, and as 8, then it leads into 9, and then into 10. All really tricky, no real rest point here, and all you can see there, Kalsef making a mistake, and around he goes, and into the wall he goes, as we will try and get on board with a driver that's at the same point. And into the hairpin goes Carlos. Make sure you get a good exit through there as you then head towards the next tight hairpin, which is making sure you get the front end to grip up, get a good exit. Once you get that good exit, then you can head down towards the tricky chicane. A little bit of a brake heading down into the braking zone. Brake as much as you can. The Ginettas should be able to abuse the curb quite a lot. But then into the tricky tight hairpin. Slightly banked once again, get a good exit through there, then leading you into the penultimate corner. And after all the good hard work that they would have done from the rest of the lap, it's very easy just to run a little bit wide, touch the gravel, and then into the final corner, giving it a good slingshot out of the final corner and towards the line as Carlos, as you can see, runs wide, clips the wall, and that is a lap of Zandvoort. And I said, a tricky circuit to get right, but when you do get it right, it's probably one of the most satisfying laps you will do around the circuit. So as we've got 2 minutes left of the session, let's have a quick look at the running order. It's Tordot leading away from Skunky ahead of O'Reilly. Carlos in that P4 with Snai P5. Hooper in P6 with Kalsef P7. Duffin currently in 8th with Carbel in P9. Wright in 10th with Langley in 11th. And Taylor in 12th, Fernie 13th with Stardog 14th, Bolton in 15th with Goudet sat in 16th, Millington in 17th. Then we've got Tipping in 18th, Ramsell in 19th, Aberdeen in 20th, Smith 21st with Bell in 22nd, Marston 23rd, Archer 24th with Cherrymore in 25th, Storick in 26th, Friedman in 27th, and then Leach in 28th, just getting out on the circuit, and then we've got McGowan at the back in 29th. Only 29 cars tonight. Just interested to see how this all pans out. And while we have the chance, guys, have a look at our fantastic sponsors in the bio as well. And our fantastic sponsors are Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gift mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. And also have a look at our fantastic sponsor, Audio Sport, manufacturers of VW Transporter, T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. And all their links as well to their Facebook page are there as well. So that is a quick rundown of everything that we need to get done. That is 30 seconds left on the clock. And let's hear from you guys. Who do you think is going to be the one to beat tonight? Tordok is looking very competitive here tonight, and we'll see what he can do. Garage now coming out the final corner. Can he get a lap time on the board? So that's it, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. I said we've got a long week of racing here at Zandvoort. Pro-Ams tomorrow night. What can they do around this circuit? And obviously we have got the pros on Thursday as well. Myself bringing you all the action on that Wednesday night for the Pro-Am. Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis, sweet and sticky in your box, bringing you all the action for the third round of the pro category as well. Now coming to the end of the free practice session, and it's looking like it is going to be Tordok who is going to lead the session with the bragging rights going into the first race. Reminder of how this format works on this championship. And we have 3 races here. All 3 are 20 minutes. And we also have ballast for your championship contenders. Obviously, the heaviest going to your championship leader and then works its way down. So Hooper carrying that 40 kilos on board. O'Reilly 35, 30 for Duffin, 25 for Tordok, and so on and so forth. But Leach comes to the end of the session, and we now go into a 10-minute qualifying session, and this is going to be fast and frantic. A lot of drivers coming straight out on track, and all fighting for positionings. Once again, Matthew Duffin, being at the end of the pit lane, manages to get out first. But there is, like I said, a lot of cars behind him who want some racing space. And it might not necessarily be the best place to be out in front. But trying to get as much temperature in the rears of his car as he possibly can there. So 10 minutes for this session, and the rest of the night it will be a 7-minute qualifying session. Very fast-paced qualifying session indeed, and it's important that they make all these laps count. So guys, if you know or want to predict who is going to take the pole here tonight, then feel free to drop it in the chat. Get your predictions on who you think is going to take pole position on this first run. A reminder to the drivers that when they come into the final sector, they will not be allowed to overtake one another. And they will have to stay where they are, back up, and try and get some space if they possibly can. We'll stay on board with Hooper as he takes us for a lap of this fantastic circuit here in the Netherlands. Out of final corner he goes, and on to his lap. Off we go. What can Hooper do? That is the question into turn number 1. With Matthew Duffin just up the road from him, as you can see in the final sector, all the white dots popping up. That means slow drivers, and obviously that means everyone's backing themselves up to get a little bit of space. Now into the tight hairpin as Hooper looks to have a decent run through there. So Matthew Duffin just up the road from him at this precise stage, and he's going to set the benchmark. With the 2 dapper racing Ginettas looking mighty, may I say, this season. They've been absolutely brilliant. And Hooper through the right-hander he goes. And then finally into the middle sector as well. Just behind him, it looks like that is McGowan behind him. We'll move to the front. We'll have a look at what Duffin's able to do. 2 drivers on a qualifying ban here tonight for the first race. And Duffin now out of the hairpin, heading into the penultimate corner. You can see Hooper is relatively close to him, so Hooper has made time up on Duffin. But into the final corner comes Duffin himself. Mr. SimPlay himself out of the final corner. What can Matt produce here? To the line he comes. And it's a 45.3. Hooper crosses the line and goes 0.3 of a lap faster anyway, as McGowan does not set a lap time. O'Reilly to the line, he does a 44.9, and he was looking quite competitive in the first. So Tordock goes straight to the top with a 44.7. Snide, though, goes even faster, 44.6. No weight on board, possibly just 5 kilos on board for him, so he's looking quite quick. Millington to the line goes into P7. Kalsef now goes into P6, so times now coming in thick and fast. Gary Carball goes 9th overall, with Ramsell only 11th with that one, struggling for sure. Matt Wright now putting himself up into P6. And I said the times are coming in thick and fast. Stardog crossing the line in 10th place position. I believe just in the background. Will Friedman, yes, setting a lap time to put him 4th overall. A good lap time from him. And Langley there in 8th place position. So, like I said, lap times are going to be improving left, right and centre. And we come to the final half of this qualifying session. Skunky not put a lap time on the board here. A lot of drivers struggling to get a lap time on the board. And you see there Gary Leach with pretty much some clean air to himself. Is that worked out for him? That is the question, as Duffin now exits the final corner. And to the line comes Duffin. He finds an improvement, but doesn't go any faster than where he is at the minute. Hooper, no improvement either. We want to keep an eye out for Tordock. O'Reilly to the line. He goes fastest with 44.4. What could Tordock do, though? He does not improve and stays where he is at this precise time. Snide, meanwhile, no improvement either, stays P2. I believe that is Langley. No, it's not Langley coming to the line. That looked like... Not sure who it was, but either way, we'll go to Klarbel. Gary Klarbel, what can he do? Does he improve? No improvement for him. As McGowan does get a lap time on the board, and Ramsell improves, as does Wright, so they all move up a position. We see their driver improve. That is John Goudet, who puts himself in P5. A good qualifying session there for Goudet. Who else on an improvement at the minute? We've got here Langley in the tow, improves to go to P12, so good lap time from him. Has Skunky put a lap time on the board? He has, but where's it put him? It puts him in P7 for the meantime. And again, we look to lap times coming to the end of their third runs. And into the final corner once again comes Hooper and Duffin. Possibly 2 more laps out of these two. Oh, Hooper's gone very wide, clipping the wall. Has Duffin improved? He has, and puts in P5 with that lap time. Hooper there, sorry, losing his lap. McGowan now improves to go back to P4 with that lap time. Where is Tordock? Here he comes to the line. He goes fastest overall with a 44.2. So good lap time from him. Snide, no improvement on that one. Bolton neither improves either. To the line to 59. That is Millington, and no improvement from him either. And here comes John Goudet. Seems to be finding a little bit of a rhythm here at Zandvoort in these Genettas. Has he found a bit more time? No, he hasn't, so he will not improve on his current position. Just keep an eye if any of their drivers will improve. We got Langley coming out of the final corner. Oh, getting a little bit wide and onto the dirt there by the looks of things as he comes to the line. No improvement for him. Meanwhile, Skunky does improve to go to P3 and matches O'Reilly's time. But of course, O'Reilly done it first, so O'Reilly will keep the position. And we look to the back. That is Gary 131, who is on a valid lap. Can he improve on P17? No, he cannot. He stays where he is at the moment. So one more lap from him. And here comes Matthew Duffin out of the final corner. Trying to extract everything he possibly can out of this car. No improvement from him there. McGowan to the line. Any improvement? No. So drivers now struggling to find those couple of tenths now. O'Reilly, no improvement. Tordock, no improvement. And we've got a couple of drivers on an invalid lap of Snye and Bolton, both invalid. Just behind them is Ramsell, I believe. He does improve. No, it wasn't Ramsell. It was Millington. He improves ever so slightly. And we look to Matt Wright next to come to the line. Matt Wright, what can he do from 14th? He now goes into P8 just behind Matthew Duffin. And Goudet, no improvement from him there. And now that's Will Friedman further back. Can he find a little bit of time? Yes, he does. Top four separated by less than 10th and a half at the minute. So they are absolutely flying towards the front end of this pack. And into the last few stages of this session. Last laps, these guys can get in. Archer to the line. He improves to go P22. That is his session done. Marsden done in P20. Here comes Gary Leach on his last lap. What can he produce here? Gary Leach goes to 16th in the end, finishing the session there. Duffin cannot improve. And I believe Hooper never improved either. So it is Tordock who's currently on a lap. Into the final few corners comes Tordock. Can he extend the gap of what he's got so far? At 44.2, no, he's done. O'Reilly is in the pits. Skunky is a man to keep an eye on, as is Snye. Here he comes out the final corner, 0.3 of a second off at the minute. Has he found a little bit more time? No, he has not. He will stay where he is. Bolton, meanwhile, doesn't improve. He only goes 12th. That looks like Matt Wright just behind. No, it's not. It is Millington. He only stays 18th. Here is Matt Wright. Can he find a couple of tenths just to get him into the top 5? Matt Wright does. He gets himself into 7th place position. A good lap time from him. Will Friedman, meanwhile, on a lap. Can he get near the top? No, he can't. He goes to the pits. And Clarble improves. And return to pit lane he comes. The 186. Who is that? That is... I'm not sure who that was in the end, but that is that. It is Advantage Tordock. So good qualifying session from him right there. That was Cherrymore who was at the end of that session. And it was the 4-1-1 of Archer towards the end. But it is Tordock who takes pole position for the first race tonight. And he'll get an extra championship point for that one. So an intense qualifying session there. As drivers now get themselves ready to go. As Tordock once again showing his pace. Now he's a fully committed driver to this championship. He will try and get every possible point he can. Skunky, a really good qualifying session from him. Really been struggling through most of the season, as has Will Friedman, and it's nice to see the pair of them up there in the thick of it. And we'll see what they can do in this session. There's a prediction there of who you think is going to win this first race. So get your votes in on who you think is going to top this session. And more importantly, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport.
30 seconds.
And now they've just got less than 20 seconds now to get themselves ready to go.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to go before we get our formation lap underway and ready. As they will now leave the grid. "29 cars here at Zandvoort. The tightest circuit on the calendar, the hardest circuit on the calendar in my opinion. And it is going to be an all-out war for this one. Ian in the chat, it's a difficult guess. This track can be hell on the first half, so as anyone's race at that point, it is indeed. Old Sim Racer chat, good luck tonight, lads. To the man who started on pole position, there he is, Whodarron. Can he take another win to his name? Slowly working his way up the SimPlay rankings. I'll try and find him on the list. Currently 13, he has 15 wins to his name here at SimPlay Motorsport. So he's really starting to make his way up there in the listings. Currently 12 most wins at the minute. He's only 2 away from beating Andy. O'Reilly only with 18 wins to his name, so O'Reilly only with 18 wins to his name, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are green and go here at SimPlay Motorsport. For some reason, my stream decided to shut itself down, but we are live and racing here. Just missed the first couple of corners, but we are underway here at Zandvoort. As they all work their way through the first couple of sectors, they're all relatively clean so far. No real silly incidences as of yet, but we are underway and racing here at Zandvoort. And Whodarron did get the start that he needed, and away he goes, leading the pack at the minute. But it's O'Reilly right behind him, and Skunky also getting a good start. Friedman with them as well. But after the first couple of corners here, it is Toro, O'Reilly from Skunky, from Friedman, from Snye, from McGowan, from Duffin, from Hooper, from them right, Goudet. Bolton, as Goudet's actually dropped down the order quite a bit. Gary Leach is a man on a move at the minute, working his way up the order. But at the minute, it is Tordok leading the way, and looks like Will Freeman starting to give Skunky a little bit of something to think about as they head into the chicane. And Will Freeman's missed his brakes and goes straight on at the chicane. He'll get it slowed down, but he'll have to drop in behind Skunky, which he will do. But he'll also lose time to his teammate Snye, who's coming up behind him. So the Greasy Bandits and the Team RRM are looking very good around here, even though Freeman having a few little hiccups further back. What is happening down the order? Looks like Blunt Force Racing looking to work their way up the order a little bit. They're close together on the circuit, and Bell not getting a start. He wanted to probably start from pit lane, but a very good clean start to this race. And we are back underway. Already Tordok getting the green there as we see a car overtaking the inside. That is Gary Klarbel making a move on Bolton. By the looks of things, they're still side by side as they head over into the kink section. Carlos, starting from the back of the pack, has worked his way up into P15. A great drive from him, but Bolton holding on to that position. Klarbel goes wide. Millington now becomes at risk from Smith up the inside. Right, a little bit of pink there to celebrate the... I need to remember the driver now. I'll come back to that in a minute, but the reason why they're running a pink, but Smith gives a bit of door banging there to Millington, but both of them hang in there, and Fernie is right behind them. Back to the front though, Tordok extending the gap from O'Reilly. As you see there, Duffin is actually under pressure from Hooper, with Matt Wright just behind them as well. So Hooper trying to put Duffin under some pressure. He looks to the inside of the left-hander, but Duffin really making it difficult for him to get through. Further back, Leach as well, already up to 11th, and now onto the back of Langley. Leach has got brilliant racecraft and just struggles in qualifying a little bit. There, Ramsell is now onto the back of Carlos, and Ramsell trying to go with him. Bolton, meanwhile, pulling away from Gary Klarbel. Smith, though, under pressure from Stardog, who looks to the outside but can't get the job done. And there is Taylor just ahead of Aberdeen as it goes through the middle sector. But it's still Tordok, though, leading the way with quite a healthy gap ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Skunky, Friedman, and then Snye, McGowan, Duffin, Hooper, Wright, and then Langley rounding off the top 10. Some great stuff, though, in race one. Brilliant stuff to see. Oh, as we see there, Goudet goes a little bit wide, which is going to possibly, wow, Kalsef would have been on the back of him, but he does not able to get near him. Meanwhile, that's a car off. Why? I think that was Starrick. Yes, it was. And he's now going to get passed by Cherry Moore. So another position there for Cherry Moore. As Snye now pressurizing the back of his teammate of Will Freeman. So Freeman had a good start, but at the minute under a little pressure from his teammate, as Hooper now really pressurizing the back of Duffin. Your championship leader looking to go up the inside. Duffin trying to break later and keep the position. He manages to do so, and Hooper cannot get through. We'll go on the wing of Duffin. Here we are on board with him, and Hooper now carrying that weight on board as well, so he'll be struggling in the traction zones. We'll want to try and get past Duffin and try and stop his teammate O'Reilly from gaining all these points. A little slide there from Duffin, as you can hear, but Hooper trying his very best to put him under some pressure. Meanwhile, Matt Wright just behind him, pressurizing Hooper himself, and that is the onboard view of Hooper. So Snye at the minute leading the silver class at this precise race, and Langley leading the bronze class at the moment in that P10 position. Meanwhile, Leach under pressure from Goudet. There's a fight happening in Kalsef, Ramsell and Bolton. And it looks like Ramsel gaining position, and Carlos, so those two making a position on Kalsef there, who just seems to be struggling a little bit here. What else going on further down the pack? We've got Storek still under pressure from Taylor. So Taylor trying to work his way through the order. That's Alistair Cummins in the chat, says go on Skunky. And he is still pressurising O'Reilly. He's not giving this fight up as Friedman's actually dropped Snai. So Snai has kind of backed off a little bit and allowed a little bit of breathing room for Friedman to try and go after O'Reilly and Skunky. But at the minute, Tordok comfortably out in front, fastest lap of the race, with O'Reilly and Skunky just behind him. Now heading down to the chicane, the track is on fast, so it's still a little bit slippery for the guys here. But into the chicane, and Friedman is looking a little bit more racy. Hupert, meanwhile, still giving Duffin a hard time. Oh, and he gets a lot of curve. Thought he was going around there, but he keeps it all together. Oh, Goudet goes a little bit squarely through the chicane, and it's all relatively close. There's a send down the inside from Stardog, but he misses the chicane. Has to go straight on. Meanwhile, Taylor still trying to find a way past on Storek, but can't find a way through as Bell now catches the back of the pack. And here we see Skunky, Friedman and O'Reilly. Friedman now fastest lap of the race, so he is putting pressure on the two in front. He's right on the back bumper of Skunky here. Skunky looking to try and put off O'Reilly as best he can, but Skunky finally having a decent race here. Can he keep it under control? That is the question. Hooper still can't find a way past Duffin at the minute, and now starting to become under pressure from Matt Wright. While the close fight at the minute, we've got Stardock still on the back of Tippin, and he's got Cherrymore just behind him as well. So there's fights up and down the grid. And Klarball also getting past Storek, so Storek is now struggling. He's now got, he's been passed by Aberdeen. He's now got Archer behind him as well. So Stark really struggling at this stage of the race and has no answers for the cars in front. As Friedman now onto the back bumper of Skunky, who has a snap there, a nasty snap. And that's going to invite Friedman for a look on the inside into the chicane. He thinks better of it and pulls back into position. Carlos, meanwhile, on the move, looking to hunt down Goudet. Ramsdell got pressure from Kalsef as the rest of the pack work their way down into the chicane. Now as we're coming up to the halfway mark, Tordok still comfortably out in front. Oh, and Skunky looks for a split second there to go up the inside of O'Reilly, but that just puts him under pressure from Will Friedman, who Will's looking left and looking right, but can't find a way through. That's Smith here running the pink, as will Lexi tomorrow night in celebration of Rob's daughter fighting her cancer off and is now officially free of cancer, which is amazing to hear, and it's great to see those guys running the pink livery. Well, Skunky now was pressurising O'Reilly. He's now got Friedman for company, as Wright is actually pressurising Hooper, so Hooper's dropping off the back of Duffin, possibly the tyres and the weight really affecting his car now. There, Goudet just having a little bit of a slide, trying to get onto the back of Leach. We are at the halfway stage of this race. And I said, battles happening up and down the grid, and it's been relatively clean so far, which is great to see. Oh, Skunky makes a big mistake there, runs wide. That's going to give the opportunity for Friedman to go around the outside, and Friedman gets the job done up into P3. Now he's been released from Skunky. What can he do? Yes, indeed, Alistair Cummins, the most amazing news when anyone defeats cancer, it is amazing. And obviously we did that 24-hour race as well. There's a car into the pits. That is Duffin. Has Duffin not put enough fuel in the car? Duffin in pit lane has made a mistake, I think, by the looks of things. We're not fueling the car enough, and that has released Hooper. So Matt Wright and everyone else gains a position. Duffin is going to drop down the order to the back of the pack here. Not what he needs in this championship. But I said about 55 as well. Duffin speeding in the pit lane as well does not help either. So he's got to drive through as well. So Duffin having a pretty poor, just a drive through for them at best. A pretty poor start of the night. But it's Torok, O'Reilly, Friedman, Skunky and Snide. Now Snide's on the attack of Skunky. Can Friedman do anything about O'Reilly at this stage? Friedman, obviously no ballast on board. O'Reilly's carrying 35 kilos on board, so possibly Friedman can try and bring that gap down. Leach now up into the top 10 and is pulling away from Carlos, who, by the looks of things, Goudet flashing his lights, so he's obviously particularly not happy about something. And it's mid-pack relatively close, and this is all being held up by Kalsef a little bit. Ramsel just dropped off the back of him actually on this lap, so Ramsel not able to go with Kalsef, and he's holding up the rest of the pack. He's got Clarble, Bolton and Millington just behind, with Fernie and Smith. Oh, that in the background, that is Cherrymore, who's had a bit of a moment. That's going to give Aberdeen a possible opportunity to come through. He's looking left, he's looking right, but he can't get the job done. As Aberdeen now trying to find every little bit he can. And look, Taylor's had a great run. Cherrymore defends the inside, but Taylor's going on the attack. He'll get the slipstream from Cherrymore, who moved to the inside. Down the inside goes Taylor. Is he better on the brakes? Yes, he is. Aberdeen gives the racing room, and job done. Will Friedman, meanwhile, has brought the gap down to O'Reilly. Tordok's gone off, though. Tordok's made a mistake, and that's going to bring O'Reilly a little bit closer, but not close enough. A little bit of dirt on the tyres. He's going to struggle to clean them up relatively quickly. You can see a little bit of a slide there from Tordok, but a minor mistake there from him. As Duffin clears his drive-through, the track has now gone to optimum. We are in the fastest conditions. Snyder pushing the limits as McGowan's just not been able to go with these guys at the front. But Tordok into the chicane. Hooper dropping right like a stone, and Langley a strong P9 at the minute with Leach in P10. He's been hunted down by Carlos at the minute, with Goudet not too far behind. Once again, we got this train of cars behind Ramsel. It's actually Clarble who's now starting to hold them all up, and it is Bolton looking to try and make the move. Millington just behind them. What other fights have we got going on? Cherrymore under pressure from Aberdeen once again into the chicane, and Taylor's actually got the job done on Cherrymore, so Taylor's back up another position again. He's going to try and chase down Stardog if he possibly can. But Tordok, though, under some pressure from O'Reilly, looked good, looked comfortable, but had a moment in the middle sector, and shows that he is human and he does make mistakes. And Tordok trying to pull away from O'Reilly. Freeman, though, still fastest lap of the race to his name, and he is looking quite competitive here. Obviously, Skunky's gone with it, as has Snye as well, so all these guys are looking fast and competitive. Top five all closed. McGowan just 2 seconds off. Hooper scoring some decent points. He's not too far away. He's in the points paying position, so he needs just to keep doing these types of races, and that will win him a championship. But at the minute, yes, it's looking bleak, but it's still good for him. Bolton, meanwhile, pressurising Clarble. And Smith trying to pull away from Marsden here. But back to the front, looks like Tordok has got himself back into a rhythm. And what's saving him at the minute is a fellow driver carrying weight of O'Reilly. Friedman has been freed by Skunky, and he is now onto the back bumper of O'Reilly. O'Reilly here might be in trouble with Will Friedman hunting him down into the turn number 1, the hairpin. Meanwhile, Snai in the background is trying to make a move on Skunky, but can't get the job done as Friedman now tries to wait for the opportunity to come through. Tordok still just ahead, but comfortably able to keep the gap. Meanwhile, Leach and Carlos going side by side, and Leach holds onto the position. Ramsdale, meanwhile, losing time and is now under pressure from Klarbel, from Bolton, and from Millington. So some great racing all round here. So, Millington's ended up in the wall. Meanwhile, further back, Aberdeen's give Taylor a shove, and these three having a great little scrap at the back. Has Millington got going? Yes, he has. Possibly some front-end damage, but either way, I was expecting a little bit more drama here tonight, but so far so good in race 1. I've probably cursed them all, but O'Reilly's being very defensive as Friedman trying to find a way through. Is he trying to get a better exit as they now head towards the chicane? Friedman, though, to the outside. O'Reilly to the inside. Tordok in front. We'll go on board his rear wing to see who will come out on front. But Friedman won't get the job done there. He looks to try and hold on to the inside, but can't do so. Friedman looking for that opportunity, looking for that advantage, as there's going to be a couple more laps. Meanwhile, Skunky makes a mistake, but Snai not close enough to capitalise on that mistake. Look at Friedman really pushing the back of O'Reilly now. Tordok just hanging in there with this position. Is the weight now starting to affect these guys at the front? Here comes Friedman. Is this a possible overtaking opportunity for him down into turn number 1? Onto the helicopter cam we go. Friedman not looking like he's going to threat just yet, waiting for that prime opportunity, waiting for a mistake from the cars in front. Meanwhile, Leach and Carlos going side by side. Leach not defending the inside, staying to the outside and losing the position to Carlos. Carlos down the inside and Leach having to concede to that position. Who else is there fights on the circuit? We got Smith here under some pressure from Aberdeen. Tipping. It's Tipping looking to go down the inside of Smith. Can't get a job done though. As Taylor now trying to have a wonder and see if he can make his way through the pack. Back to the front though, Tordok is still holding on to the lead and O'Reilly's still hanging in there for that second place. Skunky has just dropped off the back of the leaders at this precise stage and not been able to go with them. But O'Reilly here really trying to hold off Friedman for as long as he can. He's got another lap to do so yet, but Friedman really looking racy here tonight. Into the chicane they go, over the curb. And Friedman gets relatively close to the back of O'Reilly, but can't do it once again. McGowan has slowly worked his way back onto Snai, but again, can't really do anything about the pace at the minute. We will start the final lap here, and I think Tordok, as long as he keeps it facing the right way. And there Friedman goes wide. He makes a mistake, and that is going to really affect his run on this last lap. In the background there, Millington looking like he was catching onto, sorry, that was Bolton. So Bolton's lost a couple of positions there as Marston under pressure from Kalsev, his team, from Stardog, his teammate, and this whole gaggle of cars looking close to one another. And that's a mistake there from Marston. That's going to give Stardog a possible opportunity to attack. Marston currently second in, and here's Smith. Smith looking down the inside of Stardog, but can't get the job done. So Stardog under pressure himself. And back to the front on the last last half of this circuit. Tordok still hanging in there by the skin of his teeth. And I think he will do, as O'Reilly, has he got one last attempt? Friedman's pushed a little bit too hard, and I think that is it. That is job done. I think O'Reilly will be safe for second place unless he tries something daft against Tordok. But these are good points for O'Reilly, so I think he'll do anything stupid here. As it now come into the penultimate corner, Tordok has put on a brilliant display other than that one mistake, but O'Reilly's right there. Can he get a better exit? Can he get a better run towards the line? It's going to be close. It's going to be tight, but it's going to be Tordok who wins the first race here tonight, ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Friedman, ahead of Skunky, ahead of Snye. McGowan with 6th place. Hooper in the end is going to come home for 7th place ahead of Matt Wright. Langley with a solid P9 and leading bronze class will take 9th place. Snye meanwhile winning the silver class. Carlos in 10th, Leach in 11th, Goudet in 12th, Kalsef in 13th, Ramsell 14th, Carball in 15th, Millington 16th, Bolton in 17th. Fernie is going to come home for an 18th place position. Marsden in the end just hanging off the back of Stardog, with Smith just behind them, tipping in our 22nd position. Taylor in 23rd, Cherrymore 24th, Aberdeen, Archer, Bell, Storrock, and then Duffing rounding them off. So your platinum winners are Tordok, O'Reilly and Freeman for your top 3. Your silver, Snye, Matt Wright and Leach. And then your bronze as well, Langley, Marsden and Smith, your top 3 for those classes. We'll be back in a few moments time as we will get the highlights ready for you guys to watch. My game deciding to be a bit strange there, but we'll get the highlights ready for you guys to watch in the break. But we'll be back in a few moments time, and like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss a thing here at SimPlay. And also a quick look at our fantastic Patreons, and a massive thank you to them.
green light. Go, go, go.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, into the next qualifying session. And obviously I muted the stream, but I didn't actually unmute myself on the controller. So that is brilliant as well. I was reading the championship standings. I'm not going to go through the whole ones. I'm just going to do the top 10. O'Reilly leads now away from Tordock, Hoopert, from Duffin, from Sill, from McGowan, Wright, Snye, Friedman, and Langley. Bolton is your top 10 there. It is Hoopert who is out on track at the moment, who is going to set the first lap time here. And down towards turn number 1, he is going to be setting the pace here. What can he do? He's got the cleanest air. There's a couple of cars actually coming out onto circuit right now. So hopefully they won't get too much in his way. But a great start for Tordock here. Carrying a little bit less weight than the guys around him, which will obviously help him out. As Hoopert's returned back to the pits there, so he will not be the first one to set a lap time. It will be Duffin. Friedman in the chat saying, I'm surprised myself getting the best lap. So Friedman there obviously a little bit shocked with his pace there. So hopefully that can continue on going into this qualifying session. But it's now going to be Duffin to set the pace here. Now was Hoopert possibly thinking he was going to catch that traffic and just wanted a little bit better clean air. He has come back out on track. Not sure where he is. He's right behind a few cars actually, so he's actually placed himself probably worse in that position. So we'll see what he can do from there. But Duffin meanwhile will set the pace. He's got O'Reilly not too far behind him as well. As Duffin now comes out of the final corner. And toward the line he comes. And what will this lap time be? It is a 45.2. And straight away, O'Reilly into the 43s, absolutely flying. And Tordock once again into the 43s. So we're going to see some fast lap times here. McGowan not too far off as Snye gets within a 10th. So absolutely quick time there from Snye. As Smith now goes into P6. I believe that is Carlos next to the line. He now goes P4. And just behind them is Kalsef. He goes into P7. Bell P8 on that one. Millington exiting the final corner here. And what's this lap time going to be for Millington? It is not a lap time on the... Yeah, it is. It's 11th. Cherrymore goes into 12th. And then Archer just behind them. Here comes Ramsell. What is his lap time going to be? It's only P10 for him. I believe that's Goudet just behind. Yes, it is. He goes into 14th position as straight away cars improving. Clarble with P6 on that one. And you can see the lap times improving left, right, and centre. And Leach then crossing the line gets himself into P9. So it's a 2.5 by Liston coming out of the final corner. That is Langley. And what can Langley do to the line? Here he goes. What's the lap time going to be? It's only 19th for him. So more time possibly in the bag for him as Skunky, I believe, now exiting the final corner. It is. Astora goes back to the pits. And Skunky goes into P5. So good lap time there from him. So now we've got Duffin now coming to the line, looking like he's lost a little bit of pace here. He does improve, only 1.2 off the pace as O'Reilly improves, but doesn't go ahead. Tordog, has he gone faster? No, he's not. The next one to keep an eye on is Snai. As McGowan goes to P5, Snai does not improve and doing a fabulous job as a silver driver. Does Smith improve a little bit more? No, he doesn't. Carlos to the line now. Any improvement for him? Yes, he goes up into P4. Let's do a few more drivers. Kalsef improving there, going a little bit quicker. See if I can get a driver coming through the final sector here, and I believe Hooper is still yet to set a lap time on the board. There he is. So we'll stick with him. He looks like he's backed himself up a little bit so he can get a better run. Meanwhile, Wright did improve and go to P6 here with that one. But here is Hooper exiting the final corner. I think he's been trying to get himself a little bit of space. And to the line he comes. And he goes P9 with that one. So he does get a representative lap time, but it's not really up with the pack that he wants to be with. Gary 313 does not improve. He'll stay in P12 for the minute as these guys will now start their final laps here. Friedman to the line. Still no lap time from Friedman. Shocked at his pace, but he's struggling to get a lap time on the board. And it's Skunky to the line. He will get one more lap in. And he goes fastest. Skunky with a 43.9 sets the fastest set lap time. He has got another one in the board. The 77, that is Bolton. He goes 10th. As the 74 of O'Reilly improves but stays P3. Does Tordok take pole? No! He will start P2, best at the minute. Meanwhile, that is McGowan. No improvement. Snai is done as well. So we look to the rest of the pack. And this is Kalsef coming to the line. Carlos goes P4 in the end. Kalsef does not improve. Here comes Matt Wright. Any improvement? He does and goes ahead of McGowan. I believe that is Goudet coming down the straight. No, it's not. Not sure who it is. But we'll go. It was Millington goes into 17th place. So we're still waiting on a few other drivers like Hooper. But we go to Klarbel. Can he find the 10th? A few of the guys improving here. Stardog improves. And Klarbel improves as well. Hooper, meanwhile, goes only 8th with that lap time. Gary 313. Does he improve? No improvement from him. Who's that in the background? That looks like Taylor's Friedman. He goes P6 with that lap. Langley now to the line. What can he do? No improvement for him either. So it is Skunky, who has not had a pole position in a while. He takes pole here. Brilliant stuff there from Skunky. No weight on board. We could see a great race from him. But it is Skunky from Tordor, from O'Reilly, Carlos, Snai and Friedman. Top 5 separated by 0.2 of a second. 0.2 around here. That is fantastic. Now we're going to get our votes in on who you think is going to be the winner of race 2. But Skunky with a fabulous lap there to put him on pole. They did say there was rain threatening. It wasn't going to be imminent, but it is around. So we could still see rain at some point tonight. Maybe for race 3, because at the minute it is looking very dry for this next race. But you can obviously see that Hooper is just struggling with that weight at the minute on board his car. But a brilliant pole position nonetheless from Skunky. That was awesome to see. Give us in on who you think is going to win this one.
30 seconds. 20 seconds.
And they now get themselves prepped and ready for this next race.
10 seconds.
Into race 2 we go. Round 3 of the season here at Zandvoort. It's going to be all important for Skunky to get the start that he needs and try and pull away as fast as he can. Into turn number 1. Must be a lot for these drivers in their mind of how they're going to attack the start of this race. If you like what you see here at SimPlay Motorsport and you want to be a part of the action, then head over to our sim grid. There you can get yourself signed up and a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. That'll bring you into our Discord. Once you're into the Discord, then you can obviously chat amongst drivers and the admin team, get to know one another. And Brendan Williams saying O'Reilly was rapid last race. He was indeed. I think he was starting to feel the pressure though from the guys with no weight on board. Obviously O'Reilly carrying that weight, which even shows that if he didn't have the weight on board, what would he have been able to do? That is the question. But like I say, guys, if you like what you see here, hit that like button. Tell your friends and families as well, though, because we are getting so close to that 1,000 subscribers. We've been working at it since lockdown to get ourselves in that 1,000 milestone, and hopefully we can get there very, very soon. So please spread the love, get it around, let us get to 1,000 subscribers. Vote on who you think is going to win this one. Already majority you reckon Torok is going to win this one. This is going to be exciting. And like I said, remember as well, coming later this week is the Pro category and the Pro-Ams. Myself bringing you all the actions for the Pro-Am tomorrow night. Let's see how all those guys get on. It's going to be a tricky night for the GT3s. Not a lot of space and a lot of heavy racing, I think, coming ahead of us for this week. But so far so good for the Janettas. But it is Skunky from Torok on the front row. It is Greasy Bandits versus CT Motorsport. Who's going to come out on top of this one? It is a beautiful sunny day here. Track temperature is 30 degrees, air temperature 22, optimum track temperature. We are looking good to go racing here in Zandvoort for race 2 of the night. Who's it going to be? We wait for the green light here. And away we go. Let's head down to turn number 1. And Torok has got the jump on Skunky. But if Skunky's later on the brakes, he can hold on to position, but he's not going to as Torok retakes the lead. After leading pretty much the entire race 2, he now leads this one as there's all sorts of chaos further back with cars off left, right and centre. A great start to the race in race 1, but a little bit of chaos here and race 2. And that is, I think that's Skunky off. So Skunky has gone off, he's made a mistake, and he's now in the pack. And Skunky, with the great qualifying session, has put himself in a tricky position now. But it is once again Torok and O'Reilly leading the way, and once again is Friedman in third. So it is as you were from race 2, and away we go once again here at Zandvoort. All sorts of congestion further back. And looks like Duffin and Skunky getting relatively close to one another there. Danny inside goes Duffin, but he's going to miss his brakes, I think, and become under a little bit of pressure. Contact there from Skunky. He's going to try and go around the outside of Duffin. They're going wheel to wheel. Skunky pushed off wide. He's going to keep his foot in it though. He's going to keep it there. He's going to try and outbrake Duffin, and Duffin looks like he's missed his break. And he's going around the outside of Sny there. He's been caught up in a little bit of incidents there, and then Duffin capitalised as well. But Tordok, after lap 1, pulling away from O'Reilly, away from Friedman, and then Carlos with them in the top 4. Hooper once again just seems to be struggling with that weight on board, but he's doing a fantastic job to stay within the top 10. Matt Wright though, decent start from him. McGowan from Sny, from Duffin. Leach going very wide there and onto the grass. Meanwhile, just behind Duffin, here comes Sny, looking to go down the inside of turn number 1 and can't get the job done there. And then in the background, Hooper still just seems to be struggling with pace, purely down to the weight. I've obviously seen these guys testing earlier on in the week, and Hooper looked very quick without the weight on board. Now he has got the weight on board. He is really struggling here. Bolt retirement for him. But McGowan, no. Where his teammate lost out at the start of this race, he has capitalised on a few positions here and is looking to work his way forward. As I think Carlos has passed Friedman. Friedman's going to work his way back past Carlos. Carlos can't get off the grass. He chops the nose off Friedman there. Friedman having to yield that position. And Carlos murks his way through. Kalsef, meanwhile, under pressure from Wright and from McGowan. McGowan, these guys are looking for the opportunity. And Kalsef just looks like he's struggling ever so slightly here as he's now being put under pressure. What else is happening further back? We've got to move here. I think that is Stardog going around the outside of Aberdeen. Well, Aberdeen's looking to go up the inside of Stardog. And he's going to try and get him into the chicane. Tries to break later. Gives him the racing room. And Stardog holds on to position. And Marsden not able to capitalise. Everyone else, though, kind of line astern. And we've got a car a little bit slow in the background. Not sure who that is. I think it's Fernie. Yes, it was. As he drops to the back of the pack. But into lap number 2, Tordok from O'Reilly, Carlos from Friedman, from Hooper, and now Kalsef still struggling massively. As you see there, Sny and Duffin getting ready to be close to one another. Sny looking to the outside, but can't get the job done there. Duffin working his way through the pack. And you got Langley there and Klarbel going at it wheel to wheel. And we've got Leach just behind them as well. In front of him, sorry. But Carlos now clearing some of the guys in front of him. He's now ahead of Friedman. And what can he do with him? And once again, O'Reilly looking very, very competitive. Fastest lap of the race to his name. But Tordok pulling away from the rest of the pack. Here is McGowan looking to make a move on Matt Wright. That minute can't find a way through. Skunky Nook working on his way onto the back of Sny now. He's got Leach onto the back of this pack as well. So this train being held up by Kalsef a little bit. And Cherry Moore there under some pressure from Stardog. Stardog dropping Aberdeen now to work his way a little bit higher up. Ramsel lose now earlier on. Here we got Smith trying to defend from Tipping, who's actually attacking Archer at the same time. Archer looking to hold the inside. Smith trying to go later on the brakes. He tries to do so, but Archer comes off the brakes, makes the corner and stays in front. Meanwhile, Sny right on the back bumper of Duffin. Duffin's going to have to defend from Sny's. Leach once again goes wide and into the wall. Duffin defends the inside. Sny's going to have to try and go around the outside. Meanwhile, Kalsef is under pressure from Matt Wright. Looking down the inside, can't get the job done. Sny could use the bank here, but can't get the pace around the outside of Duffin. Really difficult to overtake around here at Zandvoort. Friedman, meanwhile, has not given up with Carlos and is trying to pressurize him a little bit. And again, Hooper doing a fantastic job with that 40 kilos on board with just sticking with the leaders. McGowan here just looking to possibly make an opportunity on Matt Wright if he possibly can. There's no opportunity at this stage. He's been busy fighting Kalsef as we go into the middle sector now. All these guys pushing to the limit. It's quite warm here in the UK. I don't know where it's like in the rest of the world for these guys, but a lot of these boys, especially in the UK, are going to be absolutely sweating buckets. And the rest of the pack all relatively close to one another, as Fernie has got going, and I think Bolton has left the session, so that will be down as a retirement for him. Moving once again onto the back of Carlos, but can't do anything about it at this stage. Carlos taking a little bit of dirt there. That's going to put him off a little bit like that. Puts him wide, and Matt Wright ends up following him and going a little bit wide. Oh, just up ahead, Hooper goes wide, but he's got no one around him, so he's able to make that mistake. As Duffin now onto the back of McGowan. Is he going to try and send it into turn number one? He's got the pressure of Sny behind him, McGowan in front of him, and Skunky's just onto the back bumper of these lot as well. All racing hard as Cherry Moore goes a little bit wide. No one else really in a position to attack at this stage of the race. It's really this gaggle of cars. Meanwhile, Friedman still having a great fight with Carlos. But Carlos actually starting possibly to stretch his legs a little bit, being in a little bit more of a comfort zone. Kalsef, yeah, once again, just looking like he's a little bit of the cork in the bottle as Duffin's under pressure once again from Sny, who looks down the inside of Duffin. He's going a little bit wide. That's going to lose him some time, and it has indeed. So that's going to allow Skunky to go through. And now he's going to try and give Duffin a bit of a hard time, and Leach straight on the attack with Sny as well. So Leach waiting for something to happen here, and he's straight on the attack. And Sny goes a little bit wide. You can see the kind of in Pro-Am, he's just got that slight inconsistency of the Pro-Am league moving up to the Pro this season. And he's just struggling a little bit with consistency, especially with the guys around him who are incredibly consistent. Meanwhile, Kalsef looking like he's got a little bit of a break, as right now under some immense pressure from McGowan. McGowan now looking to go down the inside of turn number one. Looks like the job, no, he's not quite far enough. And Duffin there goes a little bit wide. That's just backing up the pack even more. He's unable to go with them. Once again, Friedman just in reach. McGowan now still trying to pressurize right when he can. Sny meanwhile looking up the inside of Skunky, can't quite get the job done there. So Sny looking to try and capitalize when he can, and Skunky also still trying to pressurize Duffin while we can halfway through this race. And once again, majority reckon that Tordok is going to win this race, and he's looking comfortable out in front with no stress around him. And Friedman's now coming back at Carlos. So at the halfway stage, quick run through. Tordok leads the way ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Carlos, who's made a little mistake, and Friedman's gone wide with him. Oh, and Hooper just goes even wider, bouncing over the dirt, and he's in fifth. Kalsef having to go really defensive now for 6th, 7th and 8th for him, Wright and McGowan. Then P9 is Duffin and Skunky. Duffin goes very defensive to try and stop Skunky from coming through. Skunky looking very racy in P10 with Snai in 11, Leach in 12, Langley in 13th with Crabble 14th, Bell in 15th, Stardog 16th, Cherrymore in 17th, 18th is Aberdeen, Millington 19th with Goudet 20th, Taylor 21st with Marston in 22nd, Ramsell 23rd, Archer 24th, ahead of Smith, ahead of Storrock, ahead of Tipping, and then ahead of Fernie. Leading your platinums though is, your golds is Tordock, O'Reilly and Carlos is your top three. Leading silver is Matt Wright ahead of Snai, ahead of Leach for your top three, and your bronze is Langley leading away from Marsden ahead of Archer. Those are your top three from those guys in that class. I see there Carl Seth still under pressure from Matt Wright and McGowan. Skunky dropped off a little bit off the back of Duffin by the looks of things, and that's concertinaed everyone up, including Langley, who's on the back of these guys. And Clarble also having a good little race here, just on the back of this group. Bit of a gap down to Bell and the rest of the pack. Ramsell just struggling by the looks of things. Tordock comfortably out in front. And Carlos, though, still got that comfortable gap to Will Friedman. Hooper in fifth. Once again, Kalsev trying to break the toe. Matt Wright trying to go with him, though. But they go into the marbles every time they do that. And what has happened to Skunky? He's dropped down the order. He's ended up behind Bell, so possibly a mistake somewhere. Has he got damage to his car? Looks like he's got a little bit of front end damage and side, I think, as well. So Skunky put it on pole position, ended up dropping down the order, and is struggling at this stage. Gary Leach now moving up into your top 10 position. Langley going with him as well. Sny's dropped down the order. So has there been contact between Skunky and Sny? Now Skunky now trying to get back into a rhythm here. Once again, Will Freeman looking to pressurize the back of Carlos. And once again, towards the end of this race, Friedman looks racy once again. And into the final few corners they go. And Friedman, see there, Carlos goes wide and Friedman tends to follow him from time to time. They're now really close now, so it's 6 minutes left of this race. And look behind once again, Kalsev having to go defensive. And Kalsev now, oh, and contact there. McGowan's hit the back of right, but luckily nothing bad have come of it. Meanwhile, Sny in the background has got past Langley and is now looking to make a move on Leach on the inside of turn 3. Oh, and Leach just about gives enough racing room. As Sny looking really racy. Langley nearly looking to make the move on Sny there, but Sny really struggling to find a way through at the minute. Into the middle sector they go, and Sny looking really racy right now. Kalsev has got away from right a little bit, and McGowan and Duffin, so those guys spread out a little bit. But still, Will Friedman is harassing the back of Carlos. Not giving the guy an inch right now. Into the chicane. And Carlos just doing everything he can just to stay in front. Just shows how difficult it is to overtake around here. Leach, though, still ahead of Snai. He's just holding on to that position. Any other close fights at the minute? Goudet under pressure from Taylor. He's just got Millington just ahead of him as well. So it's all relatively close to these guys. Oh, Marston onto the dirt there. But once again, Friedman looking to make the move, but he's not quite close enough. Oh, he looks to the inside there for a moment as Carlos has to kind of check up a little bit. Friedman doesn't quite get the run. Carlos with the momentum goes around the outside. And into the fast flowing middle sector, and there Will Friedman makes a mistake. Once again, Hooper kind of in no man's land, holding off the guys behind. Kalsaf once again starting to become some pressure from Matt Wright. And Matt Wright here looking for any opportunity. He's been stuck behind Kalsaf for quite a while now. Snai, meanwhile, is looking to make a look on Gary Leach. Leach there going a little bit wide, makes a mistake. Snai's got the run. No, he hasn't, because Leach will hang on. But Snai wants the inside for the next corner. Leach will defend the inside of the circuit. Will get it stopped. And Snai goes a little bit wide. Langley looking to try and capitalise on any of these guys' mistakes. And once again, a little bit chock-a-block. No one able to capitalise on anything. Friedman, meanwhile, has just dropped off the back of Carlos a little bit. Kalsef once again defending the inside. And there in the background, Snai looks like he's got the run on Leach. So Leach possibly went wide at the final corner. And Snai up the inside. Job done. Oh, and Leach gets a tap from Langley just behind. And Langley there, not able to capitalise. Oh, Leach took a little bit too much curve there, I think. And Clarbor now onto the back of this group. Got Ramsel there. Goudet has got a pass. Ramsel by the looks of things. So Ramsel dropping down the order. It's all relatively close. Archer now looking to try and make a move on Marsden. As we're coming into the last couple of laps here, a couple of cars in the pits. That is the 85 of Taylor. And Bolton now comes back into the session. All ready to go. Once again, Friedman is on to the back of Carlos. Snai and Leach still going at it though. Leach has not given up this fight. And again, Matt Wright still on the back of Kalsef, and McGowan's gone with him as well. Tordog now starts his final lap here for race 2, and he's looking dominant here in this race 2. O'Reilly, no answer in P2 as Friedman has finally got past Carlos. So there's like another P3 for him by the looks of things as they head towards turn number 1. Hopet, meanwhile, just ahead of this three-way fight of Wright, McGowan and Kalsef, and Kalsef still in P6 and holding them off. He's trying to get onto the back of oh, and that's Skunky and Bell coming together, and Skunky gets the position. Meanwhile, just further back is Marston and Archer. Archer looking to the inside. Can he get the job done? Not. Yes, Archer's through. I think Marston will get a better exit though, as they then head into the swooping left and right, and Marston just keeps the position. And Smith there onto the back of him as well. Carlos though has not given up this fight with Friedman, and is possibly going to try again when he possibly can. Kalsef, as he still managed to hold off Wright, yes he has for the meantime, But Friedman, is he going to hold on to P3? That is the question. I think he might. Into the chicane they come. But we look to your leader, Tordok, 2 from 2. Can he make it 3 from 3 as he exits the final corner? CT Motorsport wins another race here at Zandvoort. Tordok wins and takes fastest lap. O'Reilly will come home for the P2 position. And who's going to finish in third? It is Friedman ahead of Carlos. Hupert now exits the final corner with Kalsef still defending for his might. Hupert will take P5. Kalsef from right, from McGowan, from Duffin, from Snide to the line for P10. Leach will come home in 11th, ahead of Langley, ahead of Klarbel, Skunky in 14th, Bell in 15th. Aberdeen now comes out of the final corner, ahead of Cherrymore to take that 16th and 17th place for him. Millington will finish in 18th, Goudet 19th, Ramsdell 20th, Marston 21st, Archer 22nd, Smith 23rd, Starrock 24th, Fernie 25th, Tipping 26th, and then Stardog in the end 27th, Taylor 2 laps down, 28th, and Bolton retired earlier on. But it's another win there for Tordok. And your podium, your gold winners are Tordok, O'Reilly, and Friedman for your top 3. Your silvers are Wright, Snye, and then Leach, and then bronze it is Langley, Marsden, and then Archer. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we will then have a race 3 and the third qualifying session ready for you guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsports. We are back underway into qualifying session. We go, and we have got Duffin leading out the pack. It is O'Reilly still leading the championship ahead of Tordock, ahead of Hooper, with Duffin in 4th, McGowan P5, Wright P6, Friedman P7, Sills P8, with Snipe P9. 10th is Carlos, 11th is Calcet, Bolton 12th, Leach 13th, Hoffner 14th, Yo 15th, Langley 16th, Zappolini in 17th, Goudet 18th, 19th, Skunky 20th, Ramsell, Millington 21st, Bell 22nd, Aberdeen 23rd, with Tipping in 24th, Clarball 25th, Cranes in 26th, with Varga 27th, Marston 28th, and Kneebone in 29th, Old Sim Racer in 30th, Archer 31st, Stark in 32nd, with Fernie 33rd, Smith 34th, Johnson 35th, Cummings in 36th, with Taylor 37th, Williams 38th, Cherrymore 39th, Stardog 40th, and in 41st position is Betterson, and that is your Drivers' Championship standings. And your teams is looking like this. Dapper pulling away even more. First ahead of MSA. In second, third is SimPlay Racing with Greasy Bandits in P4. Team RRM in P5. Quantum in 6th. CT Motorsport in 7th with Bull Busters Racing at 9th. Then we got Team GBR in 9th. 10th is Full Send Jawlords with OWR Racing in 11th, Team Audio Sport in 12th. 13th is Team Piston Pounders with Road Runner Motorsports in 14th, GD Racing in 15th, Soldor 16th, 17th Blunt Force Racing, 2Cs Racing in 18th, CGT Motorsport in 19th, Team Tom in 20th, or Team FBR in 21st, and OGR yet to score a point. So that's championship standings for the teams and for the drivers, as they are all out on track now doing their qualifying, and it's going to be Duffin who will set the pace here tonight for the third and final qualifying session. There was meant to be rain lurking around. The rain has not come as of yet, but we obviously still got the rest of the week to come. Pro-Am tomorrow night with myself bringing you all the action once again. Duffin crosses the line though to set the pace of a 1:45.1. Next to the line is Millington. He will go half a second down. Bolton now goes into P2. And McGowan straight away into the 44s. O'Reilly 41, with also Hooper just behind him. Tordock though to the line of 44.0. And Snai once again with that good qualifying pace goes up to the top with Carlos in P3. Then we see Kalsef go into P8. Smith into a 9th place position. Starrock goes 12th, with Will Friedman going up to second. That makes it a Team RRM 1-2, with Ramsell now going into 8th place position. Fernie into 10th. I believe that will be Matt Wright just behind. It is Goudet who goes into 15th place position. I think it was Wright, and he ended up in 17th place in the end. Cherrymore goes into 17th now. Times are coming in thick and fast. Skunky in 8th with McGowan with him as well. So all lap times are coming in pretty quick. We will look to who's just crossed the line now. Langley goes into P9. And those are your first runs done so far. But we now look to Duffin, who is the leading first lappers. To the final corner he goes. He's got plenty of time to get another lap time on the board. Duffin to the line, does not improve and stays where he is at the minute. So Duffin looking to try and find a little bit more time. That is Millington coming to the line. Does he improve? No improvement from him, but Bolton does, and he goes into 11th place position. Meanwhile, O'Reilly goes into P2, finding a good lap time underneath him there. And McGowan not improving either. Who else is coming to the line? Torok was there or thereabouts. He has not improved. Friedman is now into the final corner. So we'll see what he can do. As Snai does improve in faster, so he extends the gap of 43.6 for Snai. But to the line comes Friedman. Any improvement? Not for him. Ramsel, meanwhile, does not improve either. So a couple of the guys here just seems to be struggling. As we see, Matt Wright there does go up to P7, so an improvement for him. John Goudet now to the line. He goes into 11th place position as Skunky now goes into 6th. We then look further back. Who's that coming to the line? It's Benny Archer. Does he improve? He does not and stays where he is for the meantime. Stardog now just staying where he is. And I believe Leach does improve to go to 14th place position. And again, back to Duffin once again. I think he might be the only one to get another lap in. We will see. It's going to be tight, though. This has to be an improvement. 1.5 off the pace at the minute. He won't get another lap in, so this is it. Whatever Duffin's got, this is it. Is it pole? It's only 8th. It's good enough for 8th for him. So he goes into 8th place position. Now Millington 2 at the line. He improves to 14th, so good lap time from him there. As McGowan now to the line. He improves, goes up to 7th. O'Reilly goes faster, so does Hooper. Tordock now to the line. Does he steal pole? No, he doesn't. Snai improves even more with a 43.4. A brilliant lap time there from Snai. We look to Friedman now. I think he's done. Yes, he is. Skunky's in the pits as well, so it's just the last few cars to come to the line. Langley has finished. Who else to the line? That is Bell, and he only goes 21st. The rest are all coming into the pits. Who's next to look out for is John Goudet. Can he get himself any higher up the grid? Can he find a few more tenths here? He comes to the line and does not improve. So 4-1-1. That is Benny Archer now exiting the final corner. And that is Leach and Cherrymore yet to finish. So here they come now. Can Leach improve on 16th place? He comes to the line and he goes to 10th in the end. So good lap time there from Leach. But Snai taking pole position there for the silver driver, out qualifying the rest of the pack there. So great qualifying session there from him. Tordock this time round is in the pack, so it's going to be much more difficult for him to work his way through the order. So I will now get a pole going for race winner of 3. And what a lap time there from Snai. I believe that is the fastest we have seen from the Ginettas tonight. So good lap time from him. And once again, Kieran O'Reilly doing everything he needs to do in this championship, scoring good points here. Well, his teammate Hooper just seems to be struggling at the minute. Carlos once again up in the fight. Obviously the first race he did have that qualifying ban. He has been able to qualify for these two. And he has been able to bring himself back into the fight. Will Friedman, once again, another solid qualifying session, getting himself up there with his teammate. But Snai, brilliant qualifying session from him there. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here from SimPlay Motorsport.
30 seconds.
And also don't forget our fantastic sponsors as well, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. And if you look in the description below, you'll see our fantastic sponsors there. Producers of vinyl graphics and laser engraved gifts, mugs and printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Head over to Design Manchester. Then you've also got Audio Sport, Volkswagen, manufacturers of VW Transporter, T4 Audio Solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. And also, I want to say a massive thank you to our Patreons as well. If you do want to be a Patreon of the channel, there's loads of goodies that go with it. Or you obviously will be able to reserve your race number, so no one will be able to take it. For example, my race number is the number 16. Obviously, due to an admin member, I get the rights to keep the 16. But for example, D. Sny, for example, will get the rights to the 57. So obviously you will get priority of sign-ups as well, being a Patreon. And obviously you will get, obviously next season, we've been running as many cars and circuits as we can to fill up the SimBot, so as much data as we possibly can. But obviously going then into next season, being a Patreon, you will get also a say of what circuits will pop up on the calendar. And as I said, so much more as well. Your streams also will be automatically posted in the Discord as well. As also, if you tag SimPlay Motorsport and you are a Patreon, it will automatically be posted onto our Instagram, Facebook page, and others as well. So our Patreons, I'd like to say thank you to Benny, Ben Rook, Robert Ramsell, Graham Sutcliffe, Luke Saunders, Andrew Taylor, Jamal Clouden, Matt Wright, Stephen Millington, Mirko Ritchie, D. Sny, Yoshi Harris, Thomas Cardon, Stardog, and Ian Best. Thank you all those guys for donating to the channel. And guys, if you want to be a part of the team and help us out here at SimPlay Motorsport, be a steward, a commentator, any of those things, work on the social media. We always need extra hands, and we always need more help around here as much as we possibly can, especially with the way the league is growing. Then please feel free to have a look at our job applications. Obviously this is all voluntary, we do not get paid for it. Hopefully when the channel gets to 1,000 subscribers, which we're so close to doing, once we get there, then hopefully we can start earning a little bit from the channel. But guys, get involved in the chat as well. We're into the final race tonight. Who's it going to be? Sny starts on pole. Get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. It is going to be an interesting final race. But into the final corner we go. Sny on the front row with O'Reilly, who has been completely flawless tonight. What can he do? Tordok taking 2 for 2. Can he take it 3 for 3? That is the question. As we now wait for the green here for the final time for the GT4s, as it will be Pro-Am tomorrow night and Pros Thursday night. We now wait for starters' orders. We are green and go, racing here at Zandvoort. Down to turn number 1 we go, and Sny gets the start he needed. Down into turn number 1 we go, as Friedman touches the grass ever so slightly. But it's O'Reilly who takes the lead around the outside of Sny, as Friedman goes a little bit wide. Is there a little bit of drama further back? Yes, there is. The 420 spinning in the pit lane, that is Marsden. He gets a drive through as drivers try to get themselves organised as best they possibly can. And oh, who's that? That's McGowan, a little bit on the curb and a little bit loose, as also Skunky has moved his way up the order. But it's now O'Reilly from Sny, but Sny keeping his eyes set on the leader. He's looked very quick all night, has Sny. Has he now got an opportunity to take a race win here in the Ginetta Whodarron Cup? But into the S as they go. Tordok is up to 3rd. Can he get 3 wins here? But Carlos is not going to make it easy for him. He gives him a shove, he gives him a push, and there is Hooper. Hooper now looking to go around the outside of Tordok. And Tordok just gives him the racing room, but Hooper and Tordok come together, and Tordok is not going to make it 3 for 3. He does well not to go in the wall, and he drops down the order. So O'Reilly already under pressure from Sny. And in the background there, Hooper really getting his elbows out. He's got Skunky ahead of him now, who's looking to make some moves. Friedman trying to break later there as they go into the penultimate corner. All we see there, Matt Wright goes a little bit wide as John Goulet up the inside. And a position gain for him. Tordok is now just a recovery drive from him. He's on the back of Bolton. He's side by side with him as they head now down towards turn number 1. Meanwhile, Friedman looking up the inside of Hooper, but couldn't get the job done. Meanwhile, back to Tordok. Down the inside of Bolton he goes. Job done. Millington, meanwhile, just on the back of them as we see Matt Wright getting past Goudet once again. Goudet just trying to do a Ramsel onto the grass, onto the dirt, just manages to get it stopped. And Tordok now onto the back of Bell. We're gonna watch Tordok absolutely fly through this pack as best he possibly can. Meanwhile, O'Reilly, though, still ahead of Snai. He's trying to bring the gap down. Carlos, meanwhile, being hunted down by Skunky. With Hooper just holding up Friedman at this stage of this race. We see there, looks like McGowan just got on the dirt, so it's like Kalsef not able to go with them. That looks like Ramsel looking up the inside of Goudet, but he can't get there. Bell, meanwhile, trying to look on Ramsel. Here comes Tordok on to Bell up the inside. Oh, look, just about makes racing room there. And Tordok looks like he's got another position or not, as he's going to lose out in traction and in straight line because Bell's had a bit. Oh, and contact made there by Bell and Tordok. As there we see in the background, I think that's Bolton, who's just missed his brakes but gets it stopped luckily. And he's having a fight with Millington as well, so it's all relatively close between all these guys towards the back of the pack. But can Snai do anything about O'Reilly? When O'Reilly makes silly mistakes like that, he goes wide, and Snai's trying to hunt him down. Still though, Friedman on the back of Hooper. Can't get a way through at this stage. Meanwhile, here comes Tordok down the inside of Bell, and that's another position gain. Next target will be Ramsel. Oh, Langley just gets a little bit sideways. He's onto the dirt, but he manages to collect it together and not put it in the wall. He's got Matt Wright just behind him. As your top two pulling away from the rest of the pack. Can Snai do anything about the guys in front? Friedman, meanwhile, pushing Hooper as he goes down towards the far end of the circuit. 42, that's Marsden clearing his drive-through into the tricky middle sector. Friedman right on the limit here, trying to find a move on Hooper if he possibly can. He will have to try and catch him out as best he possibly can. Looking for a way through, he can't find it at this stage. I'm really putting Hooper under some pressure. Snai's brought the gap down to O'Reilly. How is Tordok getting on at the minute? He's already onto the back of Ramsel, so Ramsel's got something to think about. Meanwhile, Bolton losing out to Millington. Klarbel is attacking the back of Storek, so Storek's having a better race three here. Klarbel looks like he's missed the brakes and hit the back of Storek, but they managed to keep it together. And Klarbel just staying ahead of Aberdeen and Stardog at the minute. Bernie with damage to the front of his car, and Marsden with that drive-through has hurt him out massively. Meanwhile, Snai just ebbing and flowing between these two at the minute. And O'Reilly trying to pull away from Snai. Carlos ahead of Skunky, ahead of Hooper. Oh, Friedman makes a little mistake there. Losing out to Hooper. Duffin in 7th, 8th is Leach, 9th is McGowan, 10th is Kalsef. Langley in 11th, right from Goudet. Ramsel 14th and under pressure from Tordok, who looks up the inside but not quite close enough. 16th is Bell from Millington, from Bolton. Storek, though, being passed by Klarbel, who's looking around the outside. This really rare opportunity there. Usually see an F1 with the banking, but Klarbel's going to try and get the job done. He has done, and through he goes. So Storek drops down. Aberdeen from Stardog, from Taylor, from Smith, from Tipping, from Archer, from Cherrymore, Fernie and Marsden. You've got these gaggle of cars at the back, giving it a good fight at the minute, really. Oh, and there's Stardog just making a slight mistake there, but he didn't lose out in that one. Meanwhile, O'Reilly in control of this race, pulling away from Snai. Skunky now really starting to pressurise Carlos, because he's getting pressure from Hooper, who seems to have just turned up another gear now in this race 3. Maybe a few tweaks with the weight on board, and has found a better setup for the car. But through the final sector, there you go. But it's Carlos holding up the queue right now. Skunky looked to the inside, thought about it, but not close enough that time round. Meanwhile, Matt Wright on the back of Langley. And with Tordok's already cleared Ramsdell, his next target is Goudet. Goudet now just trying to hold off Tordok as best he possibly can, but I think it's a moment, it's whether if rather, sorry, it's more of when rather than if. And Tordok really trying to recover. Friedman meanwhile gets very close to Hupert, so Hupert's made a mistake somewhere. And Hupert now under pressure, Duffin also under pressure from Leach. And again, O'Reilly's just ebbing and flowing with Snye. Snye gets a little bit closer, but not really close enough. Skunky trying to put pressure on Carlos, and Hupert now looking in his rear views because he's got Freeman breathing down his neck. Freeman tries to send up the inside, but can't get the job done there. Right, looking at Langley once again, not close enough. Tordok again, not close enough to Goudet. Well, just up ahead, there's all sorts of slow cars, I think. Krabel has got ahead of Storer. Oh, a couple of slow cars. Minnington's got damage to his car. So possibly are coming together. Again, Skunky really can't do anything to Carlos at this stage. They're all still relatively close to one another. Matt Wright looking to go around the outside. I think that's Tordok trying to do it late into turn one, but he's not quite close enough. Maybe Goudet makes a mistake on the exit. No. So Tordok still holding off Goudet. Sorry, Goudet. Yeah, Goudet still holding off Tordok. They'll work their way down towards the far end of the circuit. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin has got ahead of McGowan. What has happened to Leach? Leach is in the pits. So has Gary Leach had a moment? Has he got fuel issues, possibly? So Duffin now is possibly going to be getting a little bit of a threat from McGowan behind. And there you see once again Skunky getting close to the back of Carlos. They are halfway through this race. Not long left for opportunities. Has Tordok got past Goudet? No, he has not. So he's still stuck in 13th place position. And this is the problem of Zandvoort. Tight, twisty circuit. And they're all being held up here by Langley, who's doing his best to keep them behind. And there we see Wright going a little bit wide. He's into the turn. Langley, is he finally going to send it into turn number one? Langley goes for the racing line. Wright thinks about the inside, but can't outbrake him. All close racing there. O'Reilly, though, still is being pursued by Snye, who took pole position and has had his pole position robbed from him from turn number one. And once again, Freeman onto the back of Hooper. Good little scrap from these two. Friedman looking for a way through. Looking left, looking right. Is this a possible opportunity? No, it's not, because Hooper's got it covered. Now McGowan's onto the back of Duffin. Oh, and Duffin touches the grass. He has a snap of oversteer. He got away with that. Lucky he did. But McGowan's right there to try and capitalise as best he can. Skunky just dropping off the back of Carlos at the minute. Matt Wright, meanwhile, still going wheel to wheel with Langley, Tordok and Goudet. But Tordok, I think, has found a mistake from Goudet. And that's a position gain from him. I thought then Goudet was looking to try and make a move on Tordok, but he's not quite close enough to recover back on that one. Meanwhile, Leach is in the traffic. Everyone else kind of spread out at the minute. So it's your leaders at the moment for O'Reilly and Snai, Carlos and Skunky. And there in the background is Duffin and McGowan. They're going at it, and Duffin and McGowan going close to the exit. That looks like a car exit pit lane. That, I think, is Millington. Yes, it is. So Millington coming back on track, but McGowan right on the back of Duffin now. And Freeman there trying everything he possibly can to try and find a mistake from Hooper. Can't find that at the minute. Meanwhile, Snai still giving O'Reilly something to think about. He's not really been in a threatening position. As also McGowan still trying to pressurise Duffin. Calstep meanwhile on the back of those two. As now Matt Wright under pressure from Torok. Into the right-hander they go. Oh, we see here Snai's made a mistake as O'Reilly's pulled away, and Snai now under pressure from Carlos as they head towards the chicane. This could get Skunky an opportunity, but Carlos sends it up the inside. Contact is made and Snai hits him, and around he goes. Skunky meanwhile benefits from that one. Hooper goes up the inside, as will Friedman, and Carlos losing out there. And possibly Carlos not giving the racing room that probably Snai would have wanted. But that's given Skunky P3 now. As meanwhile Duffin is still under pressure from McGowan as they look towards turn number 1. McGowan not able to attack there, as we see there Skunky under pressure from Hooper, Will Freeman and Carlos. Torok looking up the inside of Wright, but he's not quite close enough. Wright goes wide from that, and Torok gets the position. Job done. And Wright trying to fight with Torok, but thinks better of it. Better to score the points while you can. Further back, we've got tipping, attacking Starrock, who's also got Fernie just behind them as well. Also Rambo, who's that? That's Millington is trying to stay out of the way of the leaders. Very good job there from him, found the gap. And Ramsel now trying to hunt down Goudet, who's hunting down Wright, and Torok has cleared them. His next target is Langley. So O'Reilly now comfortably out in front, fastest lap of the race and leading the way with Snai in second. Skunky meanwhile has got a train behind him, and I think that's Duffin with a big slide as McGowan's dropped behind Kalsef. Into the chicane they go. Skunky bouncing over the curb. Hooper right there with him, as is Friedman, as is Carlos. Snai's pulled away from this group once again. But Skunky trying his very best to get himself on the podium at least. And there Friedman finds an opportunity to get past Hooper. I think it's job done. Or is it? Because here comes Carlos as well. So Friedman, Hooper and Carlos, and Friedman a slower exit there, and Hooper gets the run and will hold on to position. Carlos now looking to the outside of Friedman, and contact is made, and Carlos kind of being pushed around a little bit in this one, has stayed in position of where he is. Well, the fights are going on at the minute. We've got this Starrock Fernie tipping fight as well. Into the final corner they go. Down towards turn number 1. Oh, tipping looked like he was late on the brakes and nearly hit the back of Starrock, but got away with it. Hooper meanwhile still under some immense pressure from Friedman behind us. Skunky is now trying to hunt down Snai. Friedman's got to try and find a little kink in Hooper's armour. Down towards the chicane they go. Carlos just on the back of him as well. Kalsef now pressurising Duffin. So McGowan and Kalsef still haven't given up on Duffin, as we got Torok now onto the back of Langley. I think this is probably about as far as he's going to get from this race, but it's been a decent recovery considering he was spun around earlier on. Is he going to get the run down towards turn number 1? Meanwhile, Skunky has caught onto the back of Friedman, looking to go around the outside of Hooper, but he hasn't quite got enough of an overlap, so Hooper holds on to the position. Torok, is he going to get him done into turn number 1? Flashing the lights at Langley, but, you know, Bronze Driver, he wants to keep in that position as best he can. He's doing a great job of doing it. And right now, Torok can't find a way through. What else is happening around? Looks like there's a race going on between Bolton and Taylor. They're close to one another. And then we've got this gaggle of cars still tipping Storrock and Fernie, tipping down the inside. Storrock with no straight line speed by the looks of things, being passed there. Oh, and Fernie goes round. Smith helps him round. And Smith now waiting for Fernie to get going. And Fernie reverses straight across the circuit. And Smith will give the position back. Meanwhile, Snye under pressure from Skunky. O'Reilly's had this race under control from the moment Snye lost the lead. There was a little bit of pressure earlier on, but that was about it. As Friedman's dropped behind the guys ahead, so he's had a moment possibly with Carlos or Hooper, but he's ended up dropping behind them and is now in that gaggle, and Torok has finally cleared Langley. Can he get onto the back of Friedman now? Final lap of this race, and it's Kieran O'Reilly ahead of Snye, ahead of Skunky. Quite a gap back then to Hoopert, and then Carlos coming into the final laps here. And Torok, I don't think will go any further than what he is now unless there's an incident. But Skunky, can he get Snye to the end of this race? That is the question. And it's like Ramsdell's looking to try and make a move on Goudet as well, but it's not quite close enough. And also Matt Wright looking to get Langley again. A great little fight from these guys it's been. As we are coming to the end of this race, Matt Wright looking for any possible way through, but he can't find it at the minute. And there, Langley just hanging off. Right at the minute, doing a brilliant job. But where is O'Reilly? There he is, coming into the final few corners now. He has looked dominant. He's looked good in this race. No one's bothered him. He leaves here championship leader. Kieran O'Reilly stops the Torok domination and wins race 3 here tonight. And a congratulations to him. He finishes ahead of Snye in second place. Skunky taking a P3, with Hooper finishing P4 ahead of Carlos. Duffin hangs in there ahead of Kalsef, ahead of McGowan, ahead of Friedman, and then ahead of Torok in 10th. Langley in 11, Matt Wright in 12th, Goudet 13th, Ramsdell 14th. 15th in the end is going to go the way of Bell, ahead of Bolton maybe? No, that was a lap card. So Taylor ahead of Bolton, ahead of Gary Carble, then ahead of Benny Archer. Tipping will finish in 20th position, ahead of Storrock, ahead of Aberdeen. Stardog in the end for 23rd, Fernie 24th, Smith 25th, Cherry Moore is going to hang on for 26th, Millington 28th, and Leach 29th, and I will get the highlights saved on that one, and I'll also get your driver of the day up on the board. If any of the drivers who have finished in the top 3 in any of these races here tonight, then feel free to jump into the Discord and I will give you an interview. But that was that. Return to the garage. And O'Reilly taking a win on that one. I'll be back in just a few moments' time while I get myself into the comms box on the Discord. I'll be back in a few moments' time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Obviously, sadly, due to me being a bit of a donkey, I haven't saved the highlights. So this is the highlights from race 2 for you guys on screen. But hopefully that will keep you entertained while we hopefully get some drivers to come in and interview. So hopefully a few of the guys will come in. But either way, it has been a great night's worth of racing here this evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you can all hear me in the chat. Tip says it was a great night's worth of racing. But in the end, that gets votes of driver of the day. Majority of going the way of Torok at the minute. For me, I think it has to go the way of there's so many great drivers from tonight. Torok was unbelievably consistent, other than race 3. But I'm going to have to go O'Reilly tonight. Just there, every single race, being able to score the points when he could, needed to as well. And looks like no one is wanting to join me in the comments box. They never want to do in the in this class. So it looks like it's just going to have to be a quick rundown of the championship then. As I believe the points are still being updated as they are. But that's not it for racing this week. We've got all sorts of action coming up later on this week. Tomorrow night is the pros. Tomorrow night is the pro-ams. They'll be hitting the circuit and they'll be trying to score as many points as they possibly can. Me bringing you all the action of that one. So make sure you tune in on that one as well as I think for these for these cars is going to be incredibly difficult to overtake and pass around here. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. So we'll see how they all get on with that. And obviously the pros then Thursday night with Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis, sweet and sticky in your box. So keep an eye on all the action that is here. If you do like what you see at SimPlay Motorsport, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss any of the action here from SimPlay Motorsport. And I'll just get these tables up and dusted. I said it's been a great night's worth of racing, and we look forward to more action this week. But the championship standings looks like this. As we leave here tonight, it is O'Reilly leading away 5 points ahead of Tordock, with Hooper in third, Duffin in fourth place, with Silth in fifth, McGowan sixth, Nye seventh, eighth is Friedman, ninth is Wright, Kalsef in 10th, with Carlos in 11th, Skunky in 12th, with Leach in 13th, Hoffner 14th, Goudet 15th, Yo in 16th, Bolton 17th, Langley 18th, 19th is Zappolini, 20th is Ramsell, Clarball is 21st, Crane is 22nd, Varga from Bell, from Aberdeen, from Tipping, from Millington, Kneebone, Old Sim Racer, and Storick in 30th. Marston 31st, Archer 32nd, Taylor 33rd, Fernie 34th, with Johnson, Smith, Cummings, Williams, and then Cherrymore 39th, with Stardog 40th, Betterson in that 41st position. Regarding the teams, it is Dapper Racing still leading the way from MSA Racing, Greasy Bandits in third, SimPlay Racing in fourth, Team RRM with Full Send Jawlords in sixth, Team GBR in seventh, Quantum Motorsport in 8th, with CT Motorsport in 9th, Ballbusters in 10th, GDD Racing 11th, Team Autosport in 12th, with 13th OWR Racing, Roadrunners Motors in 14th, Team Piston Pounders in 15th, Sodor Racing 16th, 2 C's Racing in 17th, Blunt Force Racing in 18th, and CGT Motorsport 19th, Team Tom 20th, and Team FBR in 21st, and OGR rounding out the championship leading in the teams. That is it from the GT4s. Sadly, no one has popped in for an interview in the comments box, but I will catch you all later on, as it's been a great night's worth of racing, and I will see you all tomorrow night for the Pro-Am category. And once again, a thank you to our sponsors, Design Manchester, Audio Sports as well. If you want to be a sponsor, then please feel free to get in contact with myself, Matthew Duffin, or any of the admin members. If you join our Discord, then you are able to sponsor the channel. And remember, this is the Whodarron Cup in memory of the man himself, Whodarron, who we sadly lost last year. Running the Ginetta, it has been a dramatic worst race racing and a night of a night to remember. So thank you to all the drivers, and thank you again to all the Patreons as well that help us out here on the channel. But for myself and the Ginettas, it is a good night, and see you tomorrow for the Pro-Am.